24 hours of the Passion. 9 a.m. hour. Jesus is crowned with thorns, presented to the people that demand his crucifixion. Preparation before each hour. O my Lord Jesus Christ, prostrate in your divine presence, I implore your most loving heart to admit me to the sorrowful meditation of the 24 hours in which, for love of us, you wanted to suffer so much in your adorable body and in your most holy soul unto death on the cross. Oh, please give me help, grace, love, deep compassion and understanding of your sufferings as I now meditate this hour. And for those which I cannot meditate, I offer you my will to meditate them, and I willingly intend to meditate them in all the hours in which I have to apply myself to my duties or sleep. Accept, O merciful Lord, my loving intention, and let it be beneficial for me and for all, as if I effectively and in a saintly way accomplished what I wish to practice. Meanwhile, I give you thanks, O my Jesus, for calling me to union with you by means of prayer. And to please you more, I take your thoughts, your tongue, your heart, and with this I intend to pray, fusing all of myself in your will and in your love, and stretching out my arms to hug you, I place my head on your heart, and I begin. Oh my sweet Jesus, infinite love, the more I look at you, the more I understand how much you suffer. You are already completely lacerated, not one part of your body is untouched. The executioners are enraged in seeing that despite so many pains you look at them with so much love, and that your loving gaze, forming a sweet enchantment, like many voices, prays and implores for more pains and new sorrows. Despite their almost inhumane behaviour, they, compelled by your love, make you stand to your feet. Unable to stand by yourself, you collapse again in your own blood, and they, irritated with you, with kicks and shoves, make you reach the place where they will crown you with thorns. My love, if you do not sustain me with your loving gaze, I cannot bear to see you suffer. I feel a shiver run through my bones, my heart pounds, and I feel I am dying. Jesus, Jesus, help me. And my beloved Jesus says, my child, have courage. Do not overlook any of my sufferings. Be attentive to my teachings. I have to redo man in everything, because sin has removed his crown from him and has crowned him with opprobrium and grief. He cannot stand before my majesty. Sin has dishonoured him and made him lose all rightful claims to the honours and glories he once enjoyed. I want to be crowned with thorns in order to place upon man's head the royal crown he once possessed, and return to him all the rightful claims to all the honours and glories he once enjoyed. My thorns will be reparations and voices before my Father to expiate man's many sins of thought, especially those of pride, and to act as voices of light and supplication for each created mind, so that they may cease to offend me. Therefore, unite yourself to me by praying and offering reparation with me. Crowned Jesus, your cruel enemies force you to sit, to place a filthy purple mantle on you, to take the crown of thorns and, with infernal fury, force it into your adorable head. Then, with a rod, they strike your head, making the thorns penetrate into your forehead, with some thorns penetrating your eyes and others your ears, your skull and even the back of your neck. My love, what torment, what unspeakable pain, how many bitter deaths you endure. Your blood pours down upon your face in such a way that one sees nothing but blood. But under those thorns and blood, your most sacred face appears radiant with sweetness, peace, and love. And the executioners, wanting to complete the tragedy, blindfold you, place a reed in your hand as a sceptre, and begin their mockery. They hail you King of the Jews. They beat you on the crown of thorns. They slap you and say, "Guess who hit you?" You remain silent. You answer by offering reparation for the ambition of those who aspire to kingdoms, to offices, and who seek honours, as well as for those whose misbehaviour in positions of authority causes the destruction of individuals and harm to those souls entrusted to them, while their evil examples arouse evil in others and cause the loss of souls. With the reed you hold in your hand, you offer reparation for so many works that appear to be good, but are empty of the interior spirit and done with evil intentions. Through their insults and their blindfolding you, you offer reparation for those who ridicule the holiest things by discrediting and profaning them. You offer reparation for those who blindfold the light of their intelligence in order to avoid seeing the light of truth. With this blindfold, you pray that the blindfolds of passions, of riches, and of pleasures may be removed from us. My King Jesus, your enemies continue with their insults. The blood which flows from your most sacred head is so abundant that, reaching your mouth, it prevents you from letting me clearly hear your most sweet voice and from following what you are doing interiorly. I place myself in your arms to sustain your pierced and sorrowful head, and I wish to place my head under these thorns to feel them pierce me. And as I say this, with his loving gaze my beloved Jesus calls me, and I immediately cleave to his heart and try to sustain his head. Oh, how beautiful it is to be with Jesus, even among 1,000 torments. And he says to me, "My child, these thorns declare that I want to be constituted king of every heart. To me belongs all dominion. Take these thorns and let them pierce your heart. Let them remove from you all that which opposes me, and then leave one thorn within you as a seal to testify that I am your king and to prevent anything that opposes me from entering you. Then go to every heart and piercing them, cast out all the smoke of pride and rottenness they contain, and make me the king of all hearts." My love, my heart breaks for having to leave you, so I entreat you with your thorns to block my ears from hearing anything but only your voice. With your thorns, cover my eyes from seeing anything but only you. With your thorns, bedeck my mouth and silence my tongue from speaking anything that may offend you, so that it may freely praise and bless you in all things. O Jesus, my King, surround me with thorns so that they may guard me, defend me, and keep my attention completely fixed on you. And now I wish to dry your blood and kiss you, as I see your enemies take you to Pilate, who will condemn you to death. My love, help me to follow your sorrowful way, and I ask for your blessing. Jesus is again presented to Pilate, who shows him to the crowd. My crown, Jesus, wounded by your love and transfixed by your pains, my poor heart cannot live without you. So I search for you, and I find you before Pilate once again. But what a moving scene! The heavens are horrified, and hell trembles with fear and rage. Life of my heart, my gaze cannot bear the sight of you without making me die, but the enrapturing power of your love compels me to look at you, to well comprehend your pains. So, with tears and sighs, I contemplate you. O my Jesus, you are nude and yet you are clothed, not with garments, but with blood. Your flesh of your body is crushed and tattered, your bones are exposed, and your most sacred face is unrecognizable. The thorns fixed in your most sacred head have penetrated your eyes and your face, and I see nothing but blood, which, pouring forth into the ground, forms a pool at your feet. O my Jesus, because of the way you have been reduced, I can no longer recognize you. With painful convulsions, you have reached a most profound state of excess humility. Oh, I can no longer bear such a sorrowful sight. I feel myself dying. I would snatch you from the presence of Pilate to enclose you in my heart and give you rest. I wish to heal your wounds and with my love and bind the whole world in your blood, in order to enclose all souls in it and lead them to you as the conquest of your pains. O patient Jesus, it seems that you, straining to look at me through those thorns, say, my child, come into these bound arms of mine, place your head on my heart and experience sorrows yet more intense and embittered. For what you see on the outside of my humanity is but the outpouring of my internal sorrows. Listen closely to my heartbeats, and listen to me as I offer reparation for the injustice of those who command, for the oppression they impose on the poor and the innocent, for the pride of those who, in order to preserve their positions of authority, honours and wealth, close their eyes to the light of truth, and do not hesitate to break any law to the detriment of others. With these thorns I wish to shatter the spirit of ruling pride, and, with the furrows these thorns create in my head, I wish to establish the pathways in their minds that lead to me, whereby they may be completely reordered on the inside through the light of my truth. In my state of utter humiliation before this unjust judge, I want to make everyone understand that only through virtue is man constituted king of himself. I want to teach those who command others that only virtue united with upright knowledge is worthy and capable of governing and ruling others, whereas without virtue all honours are dangerous and deplorable. My child, be the echo of my reparations, and continue to be attentive to my sorrows. My love, in seeing you reduced so badly, Pilate shudders and, deeply moved, exclaims, How can there be so much cruelty in human hearts? Oh, this was not what I intended when I ordered him to be scourged. Wanting to free you from the hands of your enemies, he seeks a more convenient way out, and, mortified by the painful sight of you, he looks away from you and questions you again. Tell me, what have you done? Your people have turned you over to me. Tell me, are you a king? What is your kingdom? At Pilate's barrage of questions, you, beloved Jesus, do not answer, but recollected within, concern yourself with saving my poor soul at the cost of so many pains. Since you do not answer, Pilate adds, do you not know that it is in my power to release you or to condemn you? But you, O my love, wanting to make the light of truth shine in the mind of Pilate, answer, you would have no power over me had it not been granted you from above. Yet those who gave me into your hands have committed a sin graver than yours. Irresolute as he is with his heart in a tempest, Pilate is almost moved by the sweetness of your voice, and, thinking that the Jews would be more compassionate, decides to show you from the balcony with the hope that they, in seeing you in such an agonizing state, may have compassion and agree to have him release you. Sorrowful Jesus, my heart faints in seeing you follow Pilate. You walk with difficulty, bent over under that horrible crown of thorns. Your blood marks your steps. As you go out onto the pavement, you hear the tumultuous crowd that awaits your condemnation, imposing silence, in order to call the attention of all to be heard by all. Pilate, with repugnance, takes the two hems of the purple mantle which covers your chest and shoulders. He lifts it so that all see to what a sorrowful state you are reduced, and says in a loud voice, Ego homo, behold the man. Look at him. He no longer has the features of a man. Observe his wounds. He can no longer be recognized. If he has done evil, he has already suffered enough, or rather too much. I already regret having made him suffer so much. Therefore, let us set him free. Jesus, my love, allow me to sustain you, for I see that you are unable to stand under the weight of so many pains. You stagger. Oh, in this solemn moment, your destiny is decided. At the words of Pilate, all become silent, in heaven, on earth, and in hell. And then, as though with one single voice, I hear the cry of all, Crucify him! Crucify him! We want him dead at all costs. Jesus, my life, I see you tremble. Their outcry for your death descends into your heart, and, among these voices, you recognize the voice of your dear Father, who says, My son, your death is what my will desires, your death and crucifixion. Oh, you hear also your mother, who, though pierced and sorrowful, echoes the words of your dear Father. Son, I desire your death. The angels, the saints, hell, everyone, with one voice, cries out, Crucify him! Crucify him! There is not one soul who wants you alive, and oh, to my deepest embarrassment, sorrow and disdain, by an irresistible power, I too feel compelled to cry out, "Crucify him!" O my Jesus, forgive me if I too, a wretched, sinful soul, implore your death. But I beg you to make me die with you, and you, my tormented Jesus, moved by my sorrow, seem to say, "My child, cleave to my heart and take part in my sorrows and reparations." This is a solemn moment. My death, for the death of all creatures, must now be decided. In this moment, two currents pour into my heart. In the one current are souls who want me dead, because they know in me they will find the life they seek. Wherefore, by my accepting death for their sake, I exempt them from eternal damnation, and open up the gates of heaven to receive them. In the other current are souls who want me dead out of hatred, because they wish to confirm their own condemnation. My heart is lacerated and feels the death of each one of these souls, and the very pains of hell they are to endure. Oh, my heart cannot bear these bitter sorrows, as I feel death with each heartbeat, with each breath, wherefore I keep repeating, why must so much blood be shed in vain? Why the futility of my pains offered for so many? Oh, child, sustain me, for I can no longer bear it. Come and take part in my sorrows, and may your life be a continuous offering for the salvation of souls, to relieve my ever so excruciating sorrows. Jesus is condemned to death. Jesus, my heart, your pains are mine, and I echo your reparations. I see that Pilate is astonished, and hastens to say, "How can this be? Should I crucify your king? I find no guilt in him to condemn him." But the Jews' outcries fill the air. "We have no other king but Caesar, and if you refuse to condemn him, you refuse to be a friend of Caesar. He's insane, completely insane. Crucify him! Crucify him!" Not knowing what else to do, and for fear of being disposed, Pilate has a basin of water brought to him, and, washing his hands, say, "I am not responsible for the blood of this just man," and he condemns you to death. But the Jews cry out, "May his blood be on us and our children." And seeing you condemned, they rejoice, clap their hands, whistle and shout. And you instead, O Jesus, offer reparation for those who, finding themselves in high positions of authority, out of vain fear and to avoid losing their places of honour, break the most sacred laws without any concern for the destruction it may cause entire nations, and who favour the wicked while condemning the innocent. You offer reparations also for those who, having sinned, provokes God's divine anger to punish them. While you make reparation for these sins, your heart bleeds with sorrow in seeing your chosen people struck by the malediction of heaven itself, which they themselves with full consent have asked for and have sealed by condemning your precious blood. Oh, your heart is about to break. Allow me to sustain your heart in my hands, as I make your reparations and sorrows my own. And yet, your love pushes you to greater heights, as you, with eagerness, already look for the cross. My life, I will follow you, but for now, rest in my arms. In a little while we will reach Mount Calvary together, So remain in me, and I ask you for your blessing. Reflections and Practices by Saint Hannibal de Francia. From 9 to 10 a.m. Jesus is crowned with thorns, mocked as a king, and subjected to unheard of insults and pains. He makes reparations in a special way for the sins of pride. And do we avoid sentiments of pride? Do we attribute to God the good we do? Do we consider ourselves inferior to others? Is our mind always empty of all thoughts other than that of receiving God's grace? Many times we do not receive grace because our mind is cluttered with fleeting thoughts. And if our mind is not completely filled with God, we cause the devil to bother us and maybe even foment temptations. When our mind is filled with God, as the devil approaches us, and not finding the place towards which to direct his temptations, confused he flees. In fact, holy thoughts have so much power against the devil that, as he is about to approach us, they wound him like many swords and drive him away. Therefore, we complain unfairly when our mind is bothered and tempted by the enemy. It is our poor vigilance that causes our enemy to assault us. He is spying on our minds in order to find the little gaps and attack us. And we, instead of relieving Jesus with our holy thoughts and removing the thorns from him, ungratefully push them into his head and make him feel their pains more sharply. And so, grace remains obstructed and cannot carry out the crafting of its holy inspirations in our mind. Many times we do even worse, as we feel the weight of temptations. Instead of bringing them to Jesus and gathering them together to be burnt in the fire of his love, we worry, grow sad, and consider these very temptations. Therefore, not only does our mind remain occupied with evil thoughts, but our entire poor being remains as though drenched with them, whereby it would almost take a miracle from Jesus to free us of them. Jesus looks at us through the thorns, and calling us, he seems to say, "Oh, my child, even you do not wish to cleave to me. If you had come to me sooner, I would have helped you to free you from these afflicted thoughts that the enemy has planted in your mind, and you would not have made me so yearn for your return. I ask you to help me in freeing you from these sharp thorns, but I waited in vain as you were busy with the work of the enemy. Oh, how much less tempted you would be if sooner you had come into my arms. For upon coming to me and beholding me, and not focusing on yourself, you would have been won over by holy fear, and the enemy would have immediately left you. O my Jesus, may your thorns seal my thoughts in such a way that they become one with your thoughts, and prevent the enemy from causing me any sort of temptation." When Jesus makes himself felt in our mind and in our heart, do we requite his inspirations, or do we waste them? Jesus is mocked as King, and do we respect all holy things? Do we treat them with all the reverence they deserve, as if we were touching Jesus Christ himself? My crown, Jesus, let me feel your thorns so that I may understand from their sharp piercings how much you suffer, as I entreat you to be King of my entire being. Shown from the balcony, Jesus is condemned to death, by those people who had been loved and greatly benefited by him. Loving Jesus accepts death for us in order to give us life. Are we ready to accept any sorrow to prevent Jesus from being offended and from suffering? We should accept our sorrow for the sake of not allowing Jesus to suffer, since he suffered infinitely in his humanity, and since we have to continue his life on earth, we must requite the pains of the humanity of Jesus Christ with our pains. How do we partake in the passion of the pains Jesus suffers in seeing many souls being snatched from his heart? Do we make his pains our own, so as to relieve him from all that he suffers? The Jews want him crucified, so that he may die like a criminal, and that his name be effaced from the earth. Do we strive to let Jesus live on earth? With our acts, our example and our steps, we ought to leave a divine mark on the world, so that Jesus may be recognized by all, and that, through our works, his life may have in us its divine echo, heard from one end of the earth to the other. Are we ready to give our own life so that beloved Jesus may be relieved of all his offences, or do we rather imitate the Jews, the people so much favoured, much like our own souls, so much loved by Jesus, and shout like them, "Crucificator!" Crucify him. I condemned Jesus. May I share in your condemnation, which I accept for love of you. To console you, I fuse myself in you continuously, in order to bring you to the hearts of all souls, to make you known to all, and to give your life to all. Thanksgiving after each hour. My beloved Jesus, you have called me in this hour of your passion to keep you company, and I have come. With the most touching and eloquent words, I seem to hear you praying, offering reparation, suffering and pleading in anguish and sorrow for the salvation of souls. I tried to follow you in everything. Now I owe you my heartfelt thank you, and I bless you. Yes, O Jesus, I repeat my thank you thousands and thousands of times. And I bless you for all that you have done and suffered for me and for everyone. I thank you and I bless you for every drop of blood you shed. I thank you for every breath, heartbeat and step. Thank you for all the words, glances, afflictions and affronts you lovingly endured. For everything you did, O Jesus, I offer you my thank you and I bless you. O my dear Jesus, let my soul send forth a continuous flow of thanksgivings and blessings. May they draw down on all of us the flow of your blessings and graces. O my sweet Jesus, press me to your heart and, with your most sacred hands, mark every particle of my being with your I bless you, so that my being may send forth a continuous hymn of blessings to you.